Good morning, brothers and sisters. So I don't know if you have ever heard the scripture used as a defense against a preacher rapture, but someone had brought this scripture verse to my attention. So what I wanted to do today was put this scripture verse within its proper context to show that, in fact, it is not a defense against the rapture. The scripture verse is Amos chapter 5, verse 18, but we're going to read through verse 20. Woe to you who desire the day of the Lord, for what good is the day of the Lord to you? It will be darkness and not light. It will be as though a man fled from a lion and a bear met him, or as though he went into the house, leaned his hand on the wall, and a serpent bit him. Is not the day of the Lord darkness and not light? Is it not very dark, with no brightness in it? Now, Amos 5:18, Woe to those who desire the day of Jehovah. What good is the day of Jehovah to you? It is darkness and not light. As if a man fleeth before the lion, and the bear meets him, and he comes into the house and rests his hand upon the wall, and the snake bites him. Alas, is not the day of Jehovah darkness and not light, and gloom and no brightness is in it? As the Israelites rested their hope of deliverance from every kind of hostile oppression upon their outward connection with the covenant nation, many wished the day to come, on which Jehovah would judge all the heathen and redeem Israel out of all distress. These infatuated hopes, which confirm the nation in the security of its sin, are met by Amos with an exclamation of woe upon those who long for the day of Jehovah to come, that the day is darkness and not light, and will bring them nothing but harm and destruction, and not prosperity and salvation. He explains this in Amos 5:19 by a figure taken from life. To those who wish the day of Jehovah to come, the same thing will happen as to a man who, when fleeing from a lion, meets a bear. The meaning is perfectly clear. Whoever would escape one danger falls into a second, and whoever escapes this falls into a third and perishes. The serpent's bite in the hand is fatal. In that day, every place is full of danger and death. Neither indoors or out of doors is anyone safe. For out of doors lions and bears prowl about, and indoors snakes lie hidden even in the holes of the walls. After this indication of the suffering and calamities which the day of the Lord will bring, Amos once more repeats in verse 20, in a still more emphatic manner, that it will be no day of salvation to those who seek evil and not good, and trample justice and righteousness underfoot. These were mockers in those days, 2 Peter 3, as there are now, and as there shall be in the last. And as the scoffers in the last days shall say, Where is the promise of his coming? So these said, Let him make speed and hasten his work, that we may see it. And let the counsel of the Holy One of Israel draw nigh and come, that we may know it. Isaiah 5:19. Jeremiah complained, They say unto me, Where is the word of the Lord? Let it come now. And God says to Ezekiel, Son of man, what is that proverb that you have in the land of Israel, saying, The days are prolonged and every vision fails? The vision that he sees is for many days, and he prophesies of the times far off. Ezekiel 12, verse 22. For what good is the day of the Lord to you? It'll be darkness and not light. In their religious ritualism, the people of Israel still claimed that they longed for the day of the Lord. Amos rightly warned that they didn't know what they were asking for, because the day of the Lord would bring them judgment, not mercy. They would end up worse off than before. It will be as though a man fled from a lion and a bear met him. And lastly, listen to what the pulpit commentary says on verses 18 through 27. The prophet enforces the threat by denouncing woe on those that trust to their covenant relation to God, expecting the day when he would punish the heathen for their sakes, and thinking that their heartless worship was acceptable to him. The day of the Lord, when God interposes to punish and correct, to our minds, it looks forward to final judgment. It is often mentioned by the prophets as a time when the heathen should be judged, all the enemies of Israel defeated, and when Israel herself was exalted to the highest pitch of prosperity and dominion, without any regard to the moral condition affixed to the realization of these expectations. The people desired the appearance of this day, thus foolishly confirming themselves in their sinful life and false security. The day of the Lord is darkness. Why would you have the day of the Lord? It is darkness. Why do you, such as you are, want this day to come? You know not what you ask. It will be very contrary to your expectations. It will be darkness and not light, tribulation and misery, not joy and triumph for you. Based on these commentaries and based on the context, that this in fact is not talking about the church escaping the tribulation through the rapture. This is talking about Israel being deluded and thinking all is well with them, when in fact they will be brought into a snare, exactly as Jacob's trouble is described in Jeremiah 30. God bless.